Hello, Bella. How are you today?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited for our conversation.
Me too. I'm super happy to be here and share some information with the audience.
Well, tell the audience in your own words what you do for a living, who you are, a little bit about yourself.
Of course. So my name is Bella. I'm originally from Brazil. I am a former tennis player. I played for 15 years. And after I graduated from college, playing tennis, I worked for corporate America, regular jobs. And I found my passion, which has always been fitness and health. And then I started my business after going through a divorce, which I feel like a lot of people go through something very traumatic and emotionally challenging for them to pretty much wake up to their potential, right? And my potential was, hey, I can actually help people heal and glow from within. And that's pretty much the areas that I uncover throughout my programs, how people can heal, connect, and glow from within on a daily basis. So after working for 2 years on my business, I found out that mind, body, and soul connection and the holistic approach to wellness is a much better way to approach. Why? Because it's a sustainable way to transform your life. And as a former tennis player and all the traumatic experiences that I went through after going through the divorce, shifting from a different career path, and having to leave my home, I have found this to be the best vehicle that you can use to rely on and to transform yourself. So, and I'm about to have found BeFit, and now I'm working with my clients on that, on a wellness and fitness space.
That's so awesome. And I totally agree with you that it's often something that really kind of wakes us up in life to what we really want to do. And so in many ways, it's such a blessing. So it sounds like you've been pretty athletic, your whole life, growing up as a tennis player and then doing that for a long time and now as a health and fitness coach. So I'm super curious, how did the role of alcohol play in your life? And how do you advise your clients around alcohol as they're trying to get healthier and more fit?
Yeah, so for me, alcohol has always been a challenge to accept in my life on a personal level, because both of my parents have always drunk so much, and I've seen them, utilizing alcohol as a escape mechanism rather than being a way to enjoy themselves. So even my upbringing, seeing alcohol as something negative, has always been a trigger for me to not want to consume per se. But on a physiological aspect of alcohol, right? Like it really is detrimental to our liver, to our brain, to our gut, to our overall wellness. So if you can think about alcohol as something that you can avoid or minimize in your life, I suggest 100%, because I do believe that once you are more connected, more grounded, and more balanced in your life, you rely more on external factors, right? Or different kinds of, I guess, substances to bring you that sense of joy that not necessarily do you have to seek from an outside source, but you can choose to focus inwards, right? You can choose to exercise and eat better and meditate and do breath work and journal about what makes you happy, what truly makes you happy, right? And I think that alcohol has been something that I'm slowly transitioning to completely stopping in my life, and it had been an absolute pleasure to say that I'm not drinking anymore, and it does make me feel so much better and so much more connected with myself.
That's so amazing to hear. And like I think it's so amazing too when we have positions of helping other people through health and fitness. It can get really confusing. Like what do we should be doing? Should we be drinking this? Should we not be drinking this? And I think alcohol has gotten really confusing over the last, maybe 20 years. Is it a health beverage? Is it good for you? And I really appreciate when people are very honest and really know a lot of the facts, and that they can help people through it. It's not like everyone has to stop drinking, but to at least know it's not a health beverage.
Absolutely
It's
not.
not that good for you, right? I think that's just a really great place to be with. So, I really kind of want to focus. I was saying earlier to you that we haven't really gone over like a really deep nutrition or fitness episode, at least in a while that I can remember. We usually go very like spiritual and mindful. And I'm kind of hungry for a few just like, I don't know, just how to set up a really good, like healthy lifestyle, what that looks like for you, how you help your clients with that. So, like food, we obviously a lot of people in this listening to this show had a relationship with alcohol, and so like are very used to the idea of like cravings and knowing something isn't good for you. And so food can often be just as confusing, just as complicated. We all want to eat the bad stuff, but we want to be healthy. So like what does it look like for you to have a healthy relationship with food? How can you help someone have a good relationship with food? And what are some of those like maybe mindset practices to also like, I don't know, do what your intentions are around food a little bit better and a little easier?
Yeah, I love that question. So first of all, you do need all the macronutrients in your body, right? They all play a role in your overall being. I say that if, for example, protein is the power plant of your cells, right? You need amino acids, you need all the essential amino acids, right, in your body. The fat, you need the fatty acids, right? They are the membranes of a lot of your, all your cells in your body. And you need some sort of storage. You need the fatty acids to actually work through your body and transition to actually even burn fat, right? So the brown fat actually burns fat, the bad fat, I would say. So even knowing those small little details, like and carbohydrates and how important they are to give you the energy that you need, that is required of you to operate on a daily basis. So you do need the power of the protein, you need the fatty acids, the fats that give you that protection, and the carbohydrates that give you the energy. So if you have those three things in your belt, you can operate from a much better way. So every meal that you have, how can you include a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, right? And knowing your macro ratios and what your body needs is extremely important. And I mean, I can help my clients calculate that when they start working with me based on their age, their body type, their height, their weight, and their needs, because everybody has the different needs. Some people look for me because they want to lose weight. Some people look for me because they want to gain weight. So there's always something that you have to work on and you have to leverage. But in either case, you do need every single of the macro and micronutrients in your body. What is causing the most amount of inflammation in our bodies nowadays is wheat and sugar and alcohol, right? So those three things, if you put in the balance, what are the wheat products that you buy in your home, right? Pasta and bread and all these extra carbs that have not necessarily any nutritional value, but we have been consuming and addicted to for so long. What are the sugars, the refined sugars that we are consuming on a daily basis that, again, we have been addicted to because, again, they have the same chemical reaction in our brain as cocaine, as other drugs, right? So we have to also be mindful that not only are they playing a role as some type of behavior habit that we have acquired, but like psychologically is affecting us, is creating that craving. And also the fact of alcohol being something that's so sociably accepted and so is encouraged by society. Like nobody gives you a shot and expect you not to take it, right? Somebody puts a shot in your hand and you say, no, sorry, I cannot have it. They automatically think you're crazy. So when have we as a society agreed on the fact that all those three things are acceptable and good for us? We have to analyze that from a critical thinking perspective and how marketing companies and other tools have been encouraging us to make those choices because it's convenient for them, because they know that once we start purchasing those products, it become an addiction, and the more addicted it is, the more we're going to purchase them, right? So we gotta get courageous enough to challenge our minds, to take a step back, and to work on reversing that psychology. I don't necessarily need this. This is not me. I don't want this. So you have to reframe your mind to start finding alternatives for those things. And there, now more than ever, you go to Whole Foods and Sprouts and Trader Joe's and other companies and other markets, like natural markets. You can even purchase online. There's so many companies nowadays that provide alternatives for those products that we're trying to reduce the consumption from. There's even places now that offer non-alcoholic beverages because now they're realizing the amount of people they are diminishing the consumption of alcohol. How can you actually maybe have sparkling water with lime, right? How can you change some of the habits that you have on a daily basis? Like maybe reducing the labels you see on the labels, how much sugar are you consuming on the products that you buy? And then seeing like how many artificially made products am I consuming? How can I read the labels and see maybe there's too many ingredients here? Maybe this is way too processed for my body, right? Because everything that is atomically modified, you necessarily don't need to be consuming as much, right? So the more raw foods you can have, the more natural products you can have, the more vegetables and fruits and lean meat and grains that you can be consuming on a daily basis, more like a paleo diet, right? More like a natural diet. You can see the benefits that will give you in the long run. But eat intuitively, right? So everybody has a different body type and everybody has a different idea of what food should be. For example, for me personally, my body, my metabolic rate is very accelerated. So if I don't eat within 3 hours, I start getting really hungry and my body is craving food. And I'm not going to deny the needs of my body. I'm going to eat when I need to eat. I'm going to drink water when I feel thirsty. I'm going to respect the boundaries of what my body is asking of me, rather than going by what the books are telling me. Oh, you can't eat for 12 hours, or oh no, you have to eat every 1 hour, or whatever, right? Because there's ideas out there and people are just following the ideas. They're not following what is meant for them. So the more you look inwards and the more you analyze what your body is telling you to do, the more in congruence with your body you can be, and the better you're going to become.
Yeah. Well, I love that philosophy, especially about listening to your body. And it's so interesting, you put the three kind of, alcohol, sugar, wheat. And obviously on this show, we talk a lot about alcohol, especially that marketing piece and how it's been so ingrained into our culture, into our society. But, it's so true. Like if we look back, I don't know, maybe 200 years now, because even 100 years from ago, I think we already had processed foods. 200 years ago, like the prevalence of all that sugar and all that, it's not just dessert where like that sugar is hiding, it's in all of our products. So kind of following up with those two things, first of all, what would you consider a healthy carb? And I'm not talking about fruits and vegetables. I know that those are carbs too. I mean, like something else that maybe feels a little bit more filling with dinner or lunch or something like. So if not wheat, like what would be your go-to other kind of carb?
Yes, I do like quinoa, couscous, rice. There's also, if you want to include, I know that beans and lentils could be used as also as a protein source, but they do have a considerably amount of carbs on that as well. Sweet potatoes, red potatoes, yuca. There's a lot of vegetables, that have a significant amount of carbs, and rooted vegetables and grains that could be encouraged to be eaten. I personally love quinoa and rice. Those are my preferred ones, but I know a lot of people love potatoes. And again, if you are a type of person that always eat French fries, you can make your fries in the oven. Like you can still cut the potatoes and make them French fries, but instead of, fried, it can be baked. I'm just giving suggestions for those that are listening, because a lot of times we put so many boundaries on what is possible and what's not possible. But if you are proactive with your choices and with your food, you can find ways to prepare the food, Sunday at night and have the entire meal prepared for the week. Or you can find a local meal prep company that can deliver to your house Sunday night. And I even heard the idea of local casual dining that provides healthier meals, and just order your food for the week and choosing what you want. So technically, you don't need to go and and just go with the fastest food out there every single day. You can still be proactive about what you're putting in your body and find those alternatives, the carbohydrates that you do need to fulfill your needs.
Okay, this is like a random question, but I'm just super curious. So like as a health and fitness coach yourself, what do you, if you were gonna have like a bread, if you're gonna have like a sandwich or something, like what kind of bread would you recommend for someone? Maybe it's not something you eat as often, but like, I don't know, I can't imagine the whole world without like ever having a bread.
Yes, I mean, there's honestly, if you go to a local bakery, there's a lot of baking goods that are made with like fresh ingredients rather than buying those breads from the shelf, those are already better for you. And I personally spent 2 months in Europe last summer, and I was eating bread every day because there are local made breads, they made from scratch, is like natural ingredients. So, hey, if you like your bread, go for it, but just make sure you find a local bakery and find those ingredients that are healthier for you. The same with meat, right? A lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't be eating meat. Well, you shouldn't be eating processed meats. But if they are like not processed, they're not necessarily bad for you, right? So the least processed foods you can find out there, absolutely choose them. And the most amount of grains and nuts on the bread also, because there's a lot of breads that contain a lot of seeds and nuts in that, can also help you with the amount of fatty acids and help you your digestive system as well, right? So you want to make sure whatever you're consuming is helping your body in some sort of way. So the more nutritious, dense the food is, the more your body is going to receive it with love.
Oh my gosh, I go to Poland oftentimes in the summer, and one of my favorite things about being there is like obviously they have so many fresh breads, but one of my favorites, it's like a dark rye, like a sour bread though. So it's not like a white sourdough, it's like spongy. It's so good.
Those are good. Yes, those are
Yeah.
very good.
And then also too with like sugar. So, you kind of gave us some ideas, but I'm just so curious. Like, obviously, I think we understand, okay, if like you're trying to reduce sugar, like maybe skip the cookie or the dessert, every once in a while, whatever. But it's so insidious how it's in every product now. And I think the objection that we get is like, well, I don't want to make everything from scratch. Like I want to just be able to take a tomato sauce and be able to use it. Like I'm not slaving away in my kitchen for all the hours. So I think like that's hard because like it's in every little sneaky thing, you know what I mean? So how do you kind of address that or that objection and, make it easier, I guess, to like limit sugar?
For me, the first thing to do is acknowledge that you might be addicted to sugar, because personally I was extremely addicted to sugar, to where if I see a whole entire thing of brownie, I'll eat it all completely. I'll eat a whole entire bag of Oreos, just like mindless, right? Because I was so addicted to sugar. I'll feel angry if I didn't have dessert. I personally will feel angry. That's crazy to say, but that's the truth. So when those moments would happen and I caught myself, like after I ate all those foods, I will analyze and stop and like, why did I do that? Right. And you feel that blame, you feel that guilt, you feel that sense of like, why have I done that to myself? And I know that some listeners might be feeling that pain or that emotion. Just try to analyze what are the emotions that are going through your mind when you're doing that. Because sometimes it might be an emotional reaction because it's something that you're lacking, that you're craving, that you go for that sugar. The second aspect could be just regular addiction to it, that you just habitually for so long that you don't even realize, is to first look at the labels of the foods that you eat. And in the grocery store, you start finding alternatives. So you look for alternatives, something similar that you already like, that you see that has like 30 grams of sugar. You're like, oh my gosh, that's too much. How can I and find something that has 10 grams of sugar? And then the next time you go, you choose something that has 5 grams of sugar. And then you start slowing until you actually say, oh, you know what? I don't need this anymore, right? But you have to go one step at a time. What I have noticed from a lot of my clients when start to restrict in a very negative connotation, doesn't do the justice or doesn't do the job of actually creating that lifestyle that they want, because they go very restricted, and when they able to eat it again, they go and consume it all over again, and it's like a death cycle, right? So instead, trying to slowly finding alternatives and slowing it down. It's the same situation. For example, nobody is born liking alcohol, I'm sure, right? Nobody likes the taste of that. Nobody, it just tastes horrible. However, we develop the taste, right? A lot of people, oh, I developed the taste for wine. I developed the taste for whatever drink. Well, if you can develop the taste for something that intoxicates your body, how can you develop the taste for something that is going to be better for your body, right? For example, for me, it was chocolate. I would love some milk chocolate, and I'll always buy it. But slowly but changing to darker and darker and darker chocolate. Now I'm almost like 90% chocolate, right? Dark, and cacao is so actually good for you. It has a lot of properties that your body wants and needs. Even increases the level of serotonin in your body. So that means that even gives you happiness, right? And a lot of times we try to prevent ourselves from having something that's not necessarily bad. It's just the amount of the ingredients that are not necessarily good for you. That you need to start looking at the labels and being mindful and consciously choosing things that are more fulfilling and, again, nutritious dense than the things that you're probably choosing at the moment.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm curious, what is a typical day of eating for you? Like,
Oh,
just
that's a
walk
good
us
question.
through all of the foods you would eat in like one day. I love this kind of question. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. So I start my day with working out. I exercise, and then I do my meditation and stretching. And then I have my breakfast, which is normally oatmeal with, I put flaxseed milk, protein powder, collagen, a little bit of almond butter, and a lot of nuts. I mean, nuts and fruits on top. So I put walnuts and almonds and cashews, but I also put like berries and banana. So I do a very rich breakfast because, again, I do want my body to be filled with nutrients when I start working. I want my body to feel so good and nourished with, again, the carbs, the protein, and the fats that my body needs. So then I go take my shower, started working, and then mid-morning, if I'm hungry, I go eat an apple or some fruit that is like, easy to carry around. And I just drink more water and wait for lunch. And again, that depends on the day, depends on the workout that I do, and so forth. At lunch, I normally have, again, quinoa or either rice or a mix of those two with chicken or salmon or some type of fish. I don't really eat red meat throughout the week. And then a bunch of vegetables. So I just pick like 3 to 5 vegetables every week, and I just chop them off, and I just cook them with very light oil, olive oil, and seasoning. And it depends on the seasoning that I want, but it's always seasoning that doesn't have a lot of salt. And I put Himalayan salt to season, and pepper. And then on like mid afternoon, I normally have either a protein bar, protein shake again, or and fruits. So like I always put fruits that are more like fat dense, either like half of avocado, some coconut, things like that, less sugary. And then at night I have like a salad or a bunch of vegetables with fish, normally tuna or something like that. And then before night, I have a cup of tea, jasmine tea, chamomile tea, something that to relax me and to soothe me so I can go to bed and feel relaxed. And I normally like to read at night. So that's like 30 minutes before going to bed. I like to take my time to read something or learn something. That's kind of pretty much my routine in a nutshell, like how I work, but I also take care of myself here and there too.
Yeah, well, there you have it. A day in the life of a health and fitness coach. I love it. Going into the fitness aspect now, I would love to know a little bit of like just what you've learned that's what's most important about exercise, how someone can maximize exercise, how can someone fit in maybe more exercise like in a really busy schedule, and other kind of tips you have for your clients around that.
Yes, I highly encourage everybody to adopt a morning routine. because is the first hour of the day is the time that you have the most control over your life. That especially if you are entrepreneur or if you are business owner or you have a lot of responsibilities, that life might take you places that you not necessarily expect or want to. So if you have full control of the first hour of your day, make sure you get your workout in. And I would highly suggest for you to have a gym at your place if you don't already have. I personally work out in my garage, so I don't make it fancy or anything, but at least I have my dumbbells and my space that is sacred for me to not only practice my workout, but also meditation and, my yoga poses that also help me to connect more with my spiritual side. But in either case, have a little space in your home that you can access at any given moment. If you have a stressful day, or if you personally like to go to a gym in the morning, go for it, but make sure you make space and time for the driving time, for the showering time and all of that, because the morning time is the best for you to exercise and get that blood flowing. Your body wants to move when it wakes up. And the level of energy that you can have throughout the day after you work out, the level of confidence you have, the level of clarity in your mind, the release of a lot of this stress that sometimes accumulates throughout, and because we have a lot of stuff going on throughout the day, it's so much better to do it in the morning. And then another tip that I'll give is to balance between strength training, endurance, cardio, and mobility, right? Because we need all those modalities. And I believe that in society today, there's a lot of fight between one or the other. It's like, oh, is it the yoga? Is it the running? Is it the this or that? But no, it's a combination. Find space where you can stretch your body, that you can work on your cardiovascular system. You can improve your metabolic rate with a little bit of, HIIT training, endurance training, and you can also carry some weight. So you can build that lean mass, that muscle mass, right? So interval training, train like all these different kinds of modalities should be applied one way or another, a little bit of each, so you can continue to create that space for that. That's my mentality.
So in the morning, I'm such a morning person. I find that if I don't do something in the morning, it just if it won't happen later. I always have good intentions, and sometimes I still do go to an exercise class after my workday is done. But even if it's a 10-minute or a 20-minute routine, if I can get it in the morning, it just covers your bases. It feels so good. What about someone who's looking to not just get into fitness, but really kind of maximize their fitness and take it to the next level? You're an athlete, so this is something I'm sure that you've been working on for yourself for quite a while. What does the more, I don't know, systematic or kind of really so how to maximize and optimize your fitness level to the next level look at?
Oh, I like that question. I personally like calisthenics and HIIT training because
so what can you sorry, I don't even know, what is HIIT training?
So high intensive interval training. So it's the ability for you to do it in a time span.
Got it. I thought for some reason you meant warm training. I was I've never heard that. No. Okay. I got it.
Yeah. So for me is very effective. And I have been incorporating that in my life, my practice daily. Why? Because when we focus on the time, we focus on the form, and we focus on the intention behind the actions rather than repetitions, which a lot of people just oh, one more, and then they're just not even focus on what they're doing per se. So sometimes when I do HIIT training, I incorporate a little bit of the exercises that involves weights, but also some exercises that also involve body movement, or some exercises that are more mobility. So you can always gauge in the HIIT training different kinds of modalities. Even sometimes I do Pilates poses or yoga poses, right? So I incorporate a little bit of each, but in 32 minutes, you can get a lot accomplished if you do 4 rounds of 8 exercises for 32 minutes. And you are very precise of those 32 minutes. You can get way more accomplished than people that a lot of times go to the gym for 2 hours and they're oh my gosh, I haven't done anything done. I was yeah, because you're walking around on your phone. But if you take your phone out like everything that we do in life, a lot of times we don't get much accomplished because we're not focused on what you're doing. So sometimes putting your phone away and just focusing for that specific time frame, you can get so much more done, work on your endurance, work on your strength, and also be able to feel the workout after the 32 minutes.
Yeah. And do you recommend every single day, or do you have like rest days, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, definitely rest day. Definitely have a rest day. If not 2 rest days, but for me, 1 rest day will be, the recommended at least. I personally look for different kinds of modalities that encourage contact with nature as well. So with people that like, hiking or cycling or rollerblading or whatever that they can do outside as well, that can give them that sense of like, because the sunlight does give us happiness and does give us that vitamin D that our body needs. So anytime that you can also create space for physical activity outside, I would highly encourage that. And also in teams, like, create a community, be around people that are in the same space so you can have some type of leverage as well. Because sometimes if you just work out by yourself, you can get not just demotivated, but you don't see ways to improve and you feel like you're doing great, but not necessarily. There's some other people out there that could maybe push you to go a step forward, or maybe hire a coach that can help you to get to the next level, that you might not be seeing a lot of differences in your body that you need to push to the next level. So getting a coach could also help with that.
Well, I love your tip on like, just getting outside, getting some sunshine. Do you have any other just like quick, easy tips to incorporate into a lifestyle to just be that much, healthier, more mindful, more present in our bodies?
Oh, yes. So if you can just lay on your mat for 10 to 15 minutes a day with no music, no sound, just be on yourself, be with yourself for 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to uncover so much by just connecting with your essence, which a lot of times, I think the world today has been asking a lot of validation and information from the outside rather than looking inside. So it's very important for you to get deep into what you want and seek that rather than finding the answers outside. You know what I'm saying?
Give
So
some
10 to
time, be
15
still.
minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
Bella, it was super interesting to learn from you to, get some healthy tips that incorporate into our lifestyle, whether they're bite-sized pieces or, new routines and such. Where can people find more about you and learn more about what you have to offer?
Yes, thank you so much. So go to www.bfitatl.com, bfitatl.com. And then I do have a mastermind going on. I have retreat in Tulum coming up. I do have health plans, health programs that people can come and work with me directly, either through life coaching, nutrition and exercising, or just, the basic plan. But in either case, they can schedule a consultation and we can talk more to see what fits best to their needs.
Awesome, Bella, or your super wealth of knowledge. It was so nice to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.